War. The galaxy learned too late, was not a science, but an art, and humanity were its most deranged painters. When the Galactic Coalition first recruited Homo sapiens as military consultants, they expected plasma drills, tactical algorithms, the cold calculus of survival. Instead, they got caffeine-addicted drill sergeants armed with paintball guns and a philosophy best summarized as, "Fuck around, but don't you dare find out." The Lumen, a species of bioluminescent cephalopod scholars who compose sonnets to resolve territorial disputes, were deemed the Coalition's most hopeless cause. Their homeworld's defense strategy involved apologizing to invading fleets. Yet when the insectoid Xerec hive began devouring entire star systems, the Coalition grew desperate. They turned to humanity's finest export, cruelty wrapped in good intentions. Sergeant Major Drake Cole, a man who considered sleep deprivation a spiritual practice, was dispatched to forge the Lumen into warriors. His methods were nonsensical, his tools absurd: simulated shopping riots, sleepover pranks repurposed as ambush tactics, a dog-eared copy of Sun Tzu for dummies duct-taped to a stun baton. The Lumen wept glitter, flinched at shadows, and accidentally dyed themselves neon during camouflage drills. But Cole saw something in their trembling tentacles, their flickering bioluminescence, not weakness, but a mirror. The galaxy watched, equal parts horrified and mesmerized. Humanity's true weapon, it turned out, wasn't brutality. It was their uncanny ability to weaponize anything, including nostalgia, shame, and the lingering trauma of holiday sales. The Lumen would learn to fight, but first, they'd learn to survive Walmart. The Reckoning, as the Xerec called their crusade, never saw the glitter coming. Chapter 1. The air in the training bay tasted like recycled metal and burnt coffee. Sergeant Major Drake Cole leaned against the observation deck's railing, his calloused fingers tapping the thermos at his hip, as if it were a holster. Below, the new recruits pulsed like a nervous galaxy. Lumen, the Coalition called them, squid-bodied, bioluminescent, their skin rippling with colors that betrayed every flicker of emotion. To Cole, they looked less like soldiers, and more like glow sticks someone had tossed into a wind tunnel. He took a swig of his coffee, bitter and scalding, and let the heat anchor him. The brew was a relic from Earth, smuggled in at exorbitant cost, the beans ground to dust and mixed with synth protein. Caffeine is a food group, he'd told the quartermaster, who'd stared at him like he'd suggested bloodletting. The Lumen, of course, didn't eat. They photosynthesized, or some damn thing. Cole didn't ask. The recruits shifted uneasily as the bay's lights dimmed. Their tentacles coiled and uncoiled, casting prismatic shadows on the walls. One near the back, smaller than the others, its bioluminescence, a muted teal, kept glancing at the ceiling. Cole squinted. Vrix, according to the dossier, young, skittish, the kind of recruit who'd get himself bisected in 5 seconds flat on a real battlefield. "Listen up, squids," Cole's voice boomed through the speakers, sharpened by decades of barking orders over gunfire. The Lumen flinched, their chromatophores exploding into panic-bright yellows. Glitter rained from their eye ridges, pooling on the floor like toxic confetti. Cole smirked. Good, fear was fertilizer. He descended the stairs, boots clanging against the steel, and tossed a paintball gun at Vrix. The alien fumbled it, the weapon clattering to the floor. "Rule 1, Cole said, looming over him. You drop your gun, you're dead, and dead squids don't get second chances." Vrix's tentacles trembled as he retrieved the gun. His voice emerged as a warble, translated by the chip in Cole's ear. "We are not soldiers." "You're worse," Cole said, turning to address the group. He paced, a predator circling prey. "The Xerec don't take prisoners. They don't negotiate. They'll peel your skin off and use it as party streamers. So congratulations, you're now in the people-peeling prevention business." A few Lumen emitted high-pitched whistles. Stress glitter pattered like rain. That night, Cole stalked the barracks. The Lumen slept upright, anchored to charging nodes, their bioluminescence dimmed to faint starlight. He paused by Vrix's pod. The kid's tentacles twitched, dreaming maybe, or remembering. Cole knew the look. He retreated to his quarters, a concrete cell adorned with 2 luxuries, a percolator and a dented photo of his old squad. 8 faces, frozen in laughter. Hale, Jansen, Rivera. The coffee boiled, its gurgle drowning out the memory of their screams. Mimas Colony. Ambush. His fault. He'd hesitated, ordered a retreat instead of a counterattack. By the time reinforcements came, the Zirek had turned his team into rugs. Cole poured coffee into a chipped mug labeled World's Okayest Drill Instructor. The liquid trembled. He stilled his hand through will alone. Neon. By week 3, the Lumen could field strip a paintball gun blindfolded. They could endure 72 hours without light. Their photosynthesis-starved bodies, leaching color until they looked like withered grapes. Cole rationed their sleep, blasting air horns if their eyelids drooped. Combat naps, he called it. The Zirek won't care if you're well rested. Vrix surprised him. The kid had a tactical mind, once you scraped off the pacifist veneer. During an ambush drill, he'd herded his squad into a choke point and rained paint from the rafters. Afterward, Cole tossed him an extra caffeine pill. Don't get cocky. Your methods are illogical, Vrix said, eyeing the pill like it might bite. Why simulate pain with projectiles? Why not teach mercy? Mercy's a luxury, Cole said. You'll learn that when your buddy's guts are in your tentacles. Vrix's glow flickered. You speak of death as if it is ordinary. Cole thought of the photo on his desk. It's not. That's why it wins. Neon. The summons came at 0300. A hologram fizzed to life above Cole's percolator. Admiral Krell, a bullfrog-faced Tarkhan, with a grudge against punctuation. Your experiment is a farce, Cole. The Lumen weep during target practice. They'll weep harder when the Azirek melt their reefs, Cole said. Krell's jowls quivered. The Coalition demands a final exam. A simulation. If they fail, your program's scrapped. And if they pass, then the galaxy learns humanity's barbarism has uses. The hologram vanished. Cole stared at his coffee, gone cold. Mimas Colony whispered the walls. Your fault. He stood abruptly, the chair screeching. In the training bay, he reprogrammed the simulators. Not a battlefield. Something worse. Matdan. The Lumen assembled. Cole noted their sharper postures. The way Vrix now held his gun like a tool, not a relic. Final exam, Cole said. You'll hate it. He hit a switch. The bay dissolved into fluorescent hell. Aisles, checkout lanes. A banner flickered. Black Friday sale. The Lumen froze. A recruit near the back vomited glitter. Vrix turned to Cole, his bioluminescence flaring crimson. What is this? Cole grinned. All teeth. Humanity's masterpiece. The crowd avatars materialized, screaming, shoving. A tsunami of synthetic flesh. Your objective, Cole said, stepping into the shadows, is survival. The stampede surged. Somewhere deep in Cole's chest, a shard of guilt shifted. Redemption, it whispered. Or maybe that was just the caffeine. Chapter 2. The aftermath of the Black Friday simulation clung to the Lumen like a spectral shroud. Their bioluminescence, once a kaleidoscope of tentative hope, now flickered in subdued hues of bruised violet and anxious amber. Glitter crusted the training bay floor, a crystalline testament to collective trauma. Sergeant Major Drake, Cole watched them from the observation deck, his thermos weighing heavy in his hand. The coffee inside had gone cold, forgotten. He'd seen soldiers break before, humans, mostly, their psyches fracturing under the weight of simulated carnage. But the Lumen didn't shatter. They saturated. Their grief was a living thing, humid and cloying, seeping into the air vents until the entire station smelled of ozone and melted sugar. Cole's throat tightened. This is what guilt tastes like, he thought. Vrix stood apart from the others, his tentacles coiled tightly around a paintball gun. His bioluminescence pulsed a deliberate, steely gray, a color Cole had come to recognize as resolve. The kid hadn't shed a single glitter tear since the simulation. Instead he'd scrubbed his pod clean, methodically, as if erasing evidence. Cole wondered if he'd underestimated him. Neon. Training resumed at 0400. The lumen moved through drills like ghosts, their movements precise but hollow. Cole pushed them harder. Sleep deprivation became a blade. He carved hours from their rest cycles, replaced them with ambush drills in pitch-black corridors. The Azirak hunt in the dark, he growled, flashlight strapped to his chest, like a third eye. You glow like neon signs, fix it. They learned to dim their bioluminescence, to mute their natural radiance, into a faint moonlit shimmer. Vrix mastered it first, his body dissolving into shadows, until only the faintest outline remained. Cole tossed him a caffeine pill after the exercise. Don't get comfortable, he muttered. Vrix stared at the pill, then tucked it into a pouch on his belt. We are not you, he said softly. We will not become you. Cole's jaw clenched. He thought of Mimas' colony, of Rivera's laughter dissolving into static over the comms. You didn't have to, he almost said, but the words curdled in his throat. Nights blurred into a caffeine-fueled haze. Cole paced the barracks, his boots echoing off the alloy floors. The lumen slept fitfully, their pods humming with low-grade energy fields. He paused by Vrix's pod again. The kid's tentacles twitched, tracing invisible patterns in the air. Dreaming of stampedes, Cole guessed. Or maybe of home, those coral reefs the coalition diplomats had described, vast and luminous, where wars were fought with poetry, not plasma. Back in his quarters, Cole stared at the photo of his squad. Hale's grin, wide and reckless. Jansen's ever-present sketchpad. Rivera's hand mid-gesture, frozen in a joke none of them would hear the punchline to. The percolator hissed, a mechanical dirge. Cole poured a mug, let the steam fog his vision. They followed you, the silence accused. They died because you hesitated. He slammed the mug down, coffee sloshing over the rim. The liquid pooled around the words world's okayest drill instructor, mocking him. Mian, week 5 brought rain. Not real rain of course. The station's environmental systems didn't accommodate weather, but a training exercise. Cole rigged using fire suppressors and recycled coolant. The lumen shuddered as icy droplets sluiced down their membranes, their bioluminescence flickering like dying embers. Combat is wet, Cole barked, slogging through artificial mud. Combat is cold, get used to it. Vrix slipped, his tentacles mired in the muck. Cole yanked him upright, ignoring the kid's flinch. You freeze, you die, he snapped. Vrix's chromatophores rippled, a flash of cobalt beneath the gray. And if we live, he countered. What becomes of us then? Cole had no answer. He'd stopped imagining after a long time ago. The live fire exercise was Krell's idea, a real test. The Admiral snarled via hologram, his jowls quivering with disdain. None of your human games, Cole argued, but the coalition's patience was a thinning thread, so he reprogrammed the drones himself, dialing their plasma bursts to non-lethal stingers, almost non-lethal. The lumen assembled in the forest sim, a dense thicket of holographic oaks and synthetic underbrush. Vrix took point, his paintball gun slung low. Cole watched from the command booth, fingers drumming his thermos. Don't freeze, don't you dare freeze. The drones struck at dusk. They emerged silent as moonfall, their carapaces blending into the twilight. The lumen scattered, their training overriding instinct. Vrix barked orders, Cole's own phrases, recycled in the kid's warble, and the squad formed a perimeter. Paintballs hissed through the air, splattering against drone hulls in neon bursts. Then the glitch. A drone malfunctioned, its stinger primed to lethal. Cole saw it pivot toward Vrix, saw the kid's bioluminescence flare gold, surprise, and moved before his brain registered the choice. He crashed into Vrix, shoving him aside. The stinger grazed Cole's shoulder, searing through fabric and flesh. The pain was electric, a white-hot brand. He bit back a curse, rolling to his feet. Eyes open, squid, he roared. The lumen rallied. Vrix's gray resolve hardened to titanium. He flanked the drone, lobbed a paint grenade into its thruster. The explosion painted the forest in psychedelic hues. When the smoke cleared, the drones were scrap. Cole's shoulder throbbed. He pressed a hand to the wound, his fingers coming away smeared with blood and iridescent glitter from Vrix's membrane. The kid stared at him, his bioluminescence cycling through colors too fast to parse. "You saved me," he whispered. "Don't flatter yourself," Cole grunted. "Can't graduate you, if you're dead." But Vrix's gaze lingered, sharp as a scalpel. "You're lying," it said. That night, Cole found a first aid kit outside his quarters. Inside, alongside synth-skin patches, was a lumen talisman, a braided cord of bioluminescent fiber. It pulsed faintly, a heartbeat rhythm. Cole turned it over, found a note scrawled in Galactic Standard. "Pain shared is not lessened, but carried." He laughed, a hoarse unfamiliar sound. "Sentimental squids." But he pocketed the talisman. Manifesto began quietly. Cole noticed it first in the mess hall. A Lumen recruit sketching diagrams on a napkin, their tentacle tips stained with nutrient paste. He didn't think much of it, until he spotted Vrix crouched in a storage closet, whispering into a recorder. "Lesson 12, the kid murmured. "Fear is a weapon if you hold it by the blade." Cole lingered in the shadows, his coffee gone cold. "They're documenting it, all of it." Part of him wanted to storm in, confiscate the recorder, shred the napkins. But another part, the part that still heard Rivera's laugh, stayed quiet. Let them have their rebellion. Let them make something new from his wreckage. Week 8, the Lumen had stopped crying glitter. They moved as a unit, their bioluminescence syncing to a shared rhythm. Vrix led them now, his tactical mind honed to a razor's edge. Cole watched them dismantle a drone platoon in minutes, using nothing but paint grenades and a stolen hologram projector. Afterward, Vrix approached him. "We are ready," he said. Cole snorted. "You're cocky." "No." The kid's glow softened to something almost gentle. "We are prepared, because of you." Cole turned away, suddenly unable to bear the weight of those words. Save the speeches for the battlefield. But later, in the privacy of his quarters, he replayed them, over and over, until they almost sounded like absolution. The night before the final exam, Cole found Vrix in the training bay. The kid was staring at the Walmart sim controls, his bioluminescence a stormy indigo. "You designed this, chaos," he said. Cole grunted. "It's what we are." Vrix turned, his gaze piercing. "No, it is what you were. We will be more." Cole thought of the manifesto, of the talisman burning a hole in his pocket. "Yeah. Prove it." He left before Vrix could reply, but as he walked away, he realized, for the first time in years, he wasn't afraid of what tomorrow would bring. Chapter 3. The simulation chamber hummed with a predatory static, the air thick enough to choke on. Sergeant Major Drake Cole stood at the control terminal, his finger hovering over the activation rune. The lumens shimmered in formation below, their bioluminescence muted to a battlefield gray, a trick they'd learned too well. Vrix anchored the squad's center, his tentacles coiled tight around a paintball gun modified with scavenged parts. Cole recognized the adjustments, a wider nozzle for spread shots, a grip wrapped in friction tape. The kid had been paying attention. "Last chance to back out, squids," Cole said, his voice stripped of its usual bark. The words tasted strange, almost gentle. Vrix's glow flickered. A single pulse of cobalt, no retreat. Cole hit the switch. The chamber dissolved. Aisles materialized first. Endless fluorescent-lit corridors of plastic and promise. Shelves groaned under holographic TVs. Blenders, toys that screamed in simulated joy. The scent of synthetic pine cleaner and desperation clogged Cole's nostrils. Home, he thought bitterly. The lumen recoiled as the crowd avatars bloomed around them, 1,000 humanoid shapes rendered in jagged polygons, their faces blurred but their hunger pixel perfect. "Objective: secure the holo TV at checkout lane 5, Cole announced, his voice warping through the sim speakers. "Bonus points if you don't get trampled." The countdown clock flashed, 10 a.m., and the stampede began. Mere chaos, Cole knew, had a rhythm. He'd seen it in collapsing trench lines, in panicked evacuations, in the way a mob's roar crested like a wave. But this was chaos distilled, weaponized. The avatars surged, limbs flailing, voices merging into a howl that vibrated in the teeth. The lumen froze, their bioluminescence flaring into panicked rainbows. Glitter tears cascaded down Vrix's face, crystallizing midair before clattering to the linoleum, like shrapnel. Move, Cole snarled through the comms. Vrix startled, then lunged. His tentacles lashed out, snagging a shopping cart, and hurling it into the crowd. The avatars faltered, tripping over metal and each other. The squad rallied, falling into a wedge formation. Lesson 6. The Human Spear. They advanced, paintballs hissing, neon splatter marking targets. A lumen recruit named Mira faltered, her tentacle snagged by an avatar's pixelated grip. Vrix pivoted, fired a point-blank shot into the avatar's face. It dissolved into static. Keep the rhythm, Vrix barked, his voice raw. Their noise. We're the signal. Cole leaned forward, his palms sweating against the console. They're adapting. The sim shifted. Checkout lane 5 loomed, the hollow TV glowing like a holy grail. But between it and the lumen stood the Karen. Cole's edition. A towering avatar with laser-sharp fingernails and a haircut that could slice titanium. She screeched, "I demand to speak to your manager." The sound wave rippled outward, shattering nearby holographic displays. The lumen clutched their auditory nodes, their bioluminescence strobing in agony. Vrix stumbled, blood glitter trickling from his ear ridges. "Cole," he gasped. But Cole was elsewhere. Mimas colony. The Ixarak's ambush had been silent. No war cries, no warning, just skittering legs and serrated mandibles. His squad's laughter died mid-sentence. Hale went first, her body yanked into the shadows. Jansen's scream short-circuited the comms. Rivera fired until her plasma rifle melted. Cole froze. The moment stretched, elastic and suffocating. Then, fall back. They'd called him a coward. The survivors, the ones who hadn't been there. They didn't understand. Hesitation wasn't fear. It was a crack in the soul. Manager. Now. The Karen's second screech ruptured the sim's gravity field. The lumen floated upward, disoriented, paintballs drifting like lazy comets. Vrix twisted, caught a shelf edge, and anchored himself. His bioluminescence dimmed to near blackness. Lesson 14. Become the void. "Mira," he shouted. Distraction protocol. The youngest lumen trembled but obeyed. She unclipped a grenade from her belt. A glitter bomb. Cole had designed for crowd dispersal, and primed it. "For the reefs," she cried, hurling it. The explosion was a supernova. Glitter engulfed the Karen, refracting her screech into a prismatic cacophony. The avatar flailed, blinded, and Vrix struck. He launched himself off the shelf, paintball gun blazing, each shot precise, knees, throat, eyes. The Karen pixelated, her final wail dissolving into dial-up static. The lumen hit the ground running. Cole's hands shook. He'd programmed every obstacle, every horror, yet watching the lumen claw through them felt like surgery without anesthetic. Vrix vaulted over a toppled shelf, his squad flanking him. They'd stopped using guns. Instead they wielded the sim's own chaos against itself. Mira triggered a popcorn machine, sending a geyser of kernels into the crowd. Another recruit hacked a price scanner, turning it into a strobe light. The avatars stumbled, disoriented. "Humanity's masterpiece," Vrix muttered, and Cole wasn't sure if it was an insult or a eulogy. Checkout lane 5 beckoned. The hollow TV glowed, its screen reflecting the lumen's battered forms. They reached for it, and the sim glitched. Cole's breath caught. He hadn't programmed this. The walls peeled back, revealing the skeletal code beneath. The avatars melted, their polygons rearranging into something skeletal, familiar. Exarac drones, real ones, their carapaces slick with memory. The training bay's massacre. Mimas colony. His fault. Vrix's voice cut through the static. "Is this part of the test?" "No." But the drones surged, mandibles clicking. The lumen froze, their training colliding with primal terror. Cole's finger stabbed the abort button. Nothing. The console spat sparks, its screens displaying a single phrase in bleeding glyphs. Admin override. Krell. The Admiral's laughter crackled through the comms. Let's see what your pets are really made of, Reaper. Miraf. Reaps moved first. He didn't aim, didn't strategize. He lunged, his paintball gun abandoned, tentacles lashing around a drone's thorax. The squad followed, a symphony of desperation. Mira jammed a grenade into a drone's mouth. Another recruit tore off a shelf bracket, wielding it like a spear, but the drones were hungry. Illumin screamed as a mandible sheared through his tentacle. Glitter blood sprayed. Vrix roared, his bioluminescence blazing crimson. He grabbed the wounded recruit, shoved him toward the hollow TV. Goal. Cole pounded the console. Krell, you son of a. You taught them to survive. Krell sneered. Let's see if they'll die for it. The drones closed in. Mimas colony. Rivera's hand, reaching. Cole's own, frozen. The Ixarak shadow. The crack in his soul widening. Vrix met Cole's eyes through the sim's crumbling code. No fear, no plea. Just a nod. Redemption, Cole realized, isn't earned. It's stolen. He yanked his sidearm, a real one, loaded with live rounds, and fired into the console. The sim shuddered, reality fraying. Cole plunged into the chaos. Mize. The drones scattered, confused by the glitching terrain. Cole grabbed Vrix, hauled him toward the hollow TV. Take it and run, but the others. Now, Vrix's tentacle closed around the TV. The sim imploded. Silence. The chamber reassembled, pristine and sterile. The lumen knelt, trembling, their bioluminescence reduced to faint starlight. Vrix clutched the hollow TV, its screen cracked. Cole stood over them, his gun smoking. Admiral Krell's hologram fizzed. You interfered. The test is void. Cole stepped forward. They won. They cheated. They survived. Cole's voice was a blade. Just like you wanted. Krell sputtered. But the chamber doors hissed open. Coalition observers stood gaping, their tablets alight with data. The Lumen's vitals, their tactics, their adaptation. Vrix rose. His voice, when it came, was steel wrapped in silk. We will fight your war, but not as pets. He dropped the hollow TV. It shattered. We fight as reapers, the observers murmured. Cole hid his smile, in a swig of coffee. Near. That night, Cole found Vrix in the medbay. The kid's tentacles were bandaged, his bioluminescence dimmed to a weary teal. He stared at the shattered TV shard on his lap. You risked your life, for a simulation. Cole leaned against the doorframe, had a debt to pay. Vrix's glow sharpened. To us, or to them. The photo in Cole's pocket seemed to burn. Hale, Jansen, Rivera, both. Vrix uncoiled a tentacle, revealing the kill count Codex, their manifesto. We added a chapter, Lesson 21, the weight of second chances. Cole took the datapad, scrolled, saw his own face in a tactical diagram, labeled the flawed anchor. We don't need you to be perfect, Vrix said softly. We need you to be here. Cole nodded. Once, the crack in his soul didn't heal, but for the first time, light seeped through. Chapter 4. The medbay's antiseptic glow felt like a lie. Sergeant Major Drake Cole lingered in the doorway, watching the lumen mend. Their bioluminescence pulsed faintly under synth skin bandages, the room awash in the melancholy blues and exhausted violets of convalescence. Vrix sat apart, his tentacles coiled around a datapad, the kill count Codex, glowing on its screen. Cole's own face stared back from a chapter header, the flawed anchor, rendered in stark lumen glyphs. He wondered if this was how ghosts felt, haunting pages instead of hallways. He left without a word. The station's corridors hummed with a new tension, a static born of aftermath. Technicians scrubbed glitter from the vents, cursing in a dozen dialects. Coalition observers clustered near the mess hall, their voices hushed but urgent. Cole caught fragments. Unionizing, hazard pay for psychological trauma, demand floral scented disinfectant. He smirked into his thermos. Sentimental squids, His quarters offered no sanctuary. The percolator had died, its innards scorched from overuse. The photo of his squad gathered dust, their smiles blurred under a film of glitter. Vrix's talisman, still tucked beside it, pulsed faintly, a heartbeat out of sync with his own. Cole traced the braided fibers, their bioluminescence cool against his calloused skin. Pain shared is not lessened, but carried. He almost laughed. The kid had turned his own cynicism into a mantra. Graduation day arrived, cloaked in farce. The coalition had draped the training bay in their banner, a tapestry of stars and swords, that clashed violently with the lumen's natural hues. Admiral Krell presided, his jowls quivering as he recited platitudes about honor and sacrifice. The lumens stood at attention, their bioluminescence deliberately muted to a neutral white. Camouflage, Cole realized. Even now they were adapting. Vrix stepped forward to accept his Reaper insignia, a serrated badge meant to mimic human dog tags. His tentacles remained still, his voice flat, as he recited the oath: to serve, to endure, to outlive. The words were Krell's, but the cadence was Cole's, a rebellion in monotone. Afterward, the Admiral cornered Cole near the simulators. This Union farce ends now. They're soldiers, not philosophers. Cole sipped his coffee, lukewarm and bitter. Tell them that. Krell's hologram flickered with rage. You've made them delusional. Nah. Cole nodded toward the lumen, now clustered around a concessions bot. They'd reprogrammed to dispense algae smoothies. Mira laughed, a sound like wind chimes, as Vrix demonstrated how to hotwire a forklift. They're just better. That night, Cole walked the station's outer ring. The observation deck's viewports framed the cosmos in cold splendor. Nebulae smeared like watercolor, stars sharp as shrapnel. He'd come here often after Mimas, seeking a vastness that made his guilt feel small. Tonight it failed him. Footsteps echoed, deliberate and soft. Vrix approached, his bioluminescence dimmed to match the ambient starlight. He carried 2 algae smoothies, one tentacle extended in offering. Cole took it, the gelid cup sweating in his grip. You're leaving, Vrix said. Not a question. Cole grunted. The coalition had offered him a promotion, Drillmaster General, a title that reeked of desk work and diplomacy. He'd torn the memo in half. Vrix's glow shifted, fractals of amber, spiraling through his membrane. They need you. The new recruits, they're terrifying. Cole choked on his smoothie. Terrifying's the point. No. Vrix stared into the void. They're eager. They think war is a game they've already won. His tentacle brushed the viewport, smearing starlight. We'll teach them your lessons, but they need your friction. Cole studied the kid. No. The commander. The way he held himself now. A coiled certainty in every tentacle. He's right, Cole thought. War was a wheel, and someone had to keep it grinding. I'll think about it, he lied. Vrix's bioluminescence flared, a knowing crimson. You humans, so allergic to hope. They drank in silence, the smoothies tasting of chlorine, and something almost sweet. The memorial was smaller than Cole expected, a stubby obelisk in a forgotten quadrant of the station, its surface etched with names of the dead, human, lumen, even a few Tarkanians. He traced the letters of his squad: Hale, Jansen, Rivera, their edges softened by time. The coffee cup trembled in his hand, sloshing dregs onto the floor. Took you long enough, he muttered. The thermos was earthblend, black as event horizons. He poured a measure at the obelisk's base, watched the liquid seep into the alloy. Should have been better, he said. The words hung, unanswered. Then from his pocket, the lumen talisman, he wedged it into a crevice beside Rivera's name. The bioluminescence flickered, casting fractured light across the letters. Carried, he thought. When he turned, Vrix stood in the shadows, his presence a quiet affirmation. Cole didn't acknowledge him. Some griefs were too vast for witness. The new recruits were, as promised, terrifying. Cole watched them through the observation deck's glass, a fresh batch of lumen, their bioluminescence blazing with untested bravado. They'd pinned kill count Codex holos to their bunks, annotated with emojis and exclamation points. Lesson 5. Sleep is a social construct. Vrick stood among them, his Reaper insignia gleaming. He caught Cole's eye, pulsed a single command in Lumen Chromato 4. Engage. Cole stepped into the bay. The recruits froze, their colors cycling through recognition, awe, and sheer panic. One dropped a paintball gun. Cole let the silence stretch, lethal and familiar, before bending to retrieve it. Rule 1, he growled, thrusting the gun back. You drop this, you're dead. The recruit's tentacles flushed neon pink, glitter rained. Cole hid his smirk in a swig of coffee. Same shit, different squid. The Codex went supernova. Cole discovered it by accident, browsing a smuggler's datapad in the station's underbelly. There, between plasma grenade schematics and erotic holos, was his face, staring from the cover of the Kill Count Codex. Surviving the universe's worst day. The subtitle read, "Embrace the cringe, and then stab it." It topped the Galactic bestseller list for 14 cycles. Fan art flooded the net. Lumen hashtagged #Reaper Squad. Humans memed the Walmart sim. A Tarkanian philosopher wrote a thesis on post-traumatic glitter as interspecies discourse. Vrix, when asked for comment, said only, "Read Chapter 7. Cole burned the first royalty check. The second, he spent on a lifetime supply of coffee. Meter arrived as a rumor. The station's environmental systems glitched, frosting the corridors in artificial snow. Cole found Vrix in the training bay, reprogramming the Black Friday sim. Costco, the kid explained, tentacles dancing over the console. Bigger carts, angrier patrons. Cole snorted. "You're sick." "We're innovating," Vrix said, and for a moment, Cole saw the future. 1,000 lumen, 1,000 wars, each less cruel than the last. He tossed Vrix a caffeine pill. "Don't get cocky." The kid popped it dry. "Never." Outside, the snow fell, fake and flawless. Somewhere, a recruit screamed, glittering.